If you struggle with proportions for your figures, then this video is going to be useful for you. Hi, my name's Kenzo and this is Love Life Drawing. We've described before some techniques for getting things in the right place when you're doing life drawing, alignment and negative space, measurement and stuff like that. Today we're going to talk about how to use these methods in practice, combine them together to get the proportions right. And what we're going to talk about is more analytical than how you would normally want to draw. So after we've talked about the approach, we're going to talk about how you can work on these skills so much that they become automatic, and then you can do these nice, loose, more gestural drawings, and the proportions just work naturally. So first is an example which is a little bit unusual because here we have a drawing where the figure is pretty much in place except for the arm. Normally you probably wouldn't draw like this because you'd normally lay down some simple initial layers which would include probably the arm and most of the figure, and you'd start to build up those layers bit by bit rather than leaving out one part altogether. But this is a great way to explain how these various methods can come together. So the arm is coming away from the rest of the figure, the hand is a little bit away from the rest of the figure. Let's try to imagine where it should all be on the drawing. So first we could just try to follow the path of the arm to the hand. And I think this is how a lot of people would place the hand in a drawing. And it works, but by itself, this approach can go wrong pretty easily. If you get one of the angles a bit wrong, if you get one of the lengths a bit wrong, then the hand is going to end up in the wrong place. And things start to fall apart quite quickly. So we could put down some light lines just following the path of the arm. They don't look right, but that's okay. It's a first attempt just to see what's wrong. You put down something that's wrong and then you can start to figure out what's right. So next we're going to see what lines up with the hand horizontally, and it looks like the eyebrow line does. And I'm happy with where the eyebrow line is on my figure, so I'm going to use it. And then we can look for how far from the head the hand is. And again, I'm happy with the torso, so I could try to see how far the hand is from the head compared to the distance between the highest points on the two shoulders. And it looks like it's just a little bit further than that. Okay, so now we know it should be on this line and it should be this far from the shoulder. So we know roughly where the hand should be. Maybe now we can do a better job with the rest of the arm. So where should that elbow have gone? Again, we can check the alignment. If I imagine a line across from this nipple, the elbow is a little bit below that. So now I can follow the angle of the line from the hand down to this line to get to the elbow. So now we know where the shoulder is, where the elbow is, and where the hand is. We've got some proportions now for our arm. Let's have a quick look at the negative space created. It looks about right, an irregular rectangle that's narrower towards the head, but I can see now that maybe I have the shoulder too low and the arm too thick, so I can correct that. So here are the initial proportions. As we build up more layers and add tones, I might realize that something else is wrong, and so I might keep correcting it later, but hopefully I've got the main things in place, so I'm not going to have to adjust it too much later on. So this is an overly analytical process. It's more analytical than we want to be for our figure drawings. When you're more experienced, when you've used these methods for a while, your eye is going to start making these calculations rapidly in the background without you needing to worry about it too much. You won't even realize you're doing it. For now, we're going to do it consciously. So practicing these techniques this way is a bit like Daniel-san in Karate Kid waxing the cars. Wax on, wax off. He did those motions so many times that eventually when Mr. Miyagi throws punches at him, he can block them all without even realizing what he's doing. As you gain experience and when you've done a lot of aligning and measuring and so on, your proportions can start to get better even when you don't use those methods. You'll only need to use those for fixing really difficult areas. And the cool thing is that when you can do all of this automatically without thinking about it, you can draw loosely and more expressively, and the proportions are just going to kind of work naturally. And these methods that we've talked about here, these are things that can kind of become automated. There are other methods like a grid method, for example, that you may have seen, And I think with that, you would always need to do that manually, but these ones can become automatic. This was made easier because we already had a lot of things in place and we were just adding the arm. When you're faced with a blank piece of paper though, that's a little bit more tricky. To practice your proportions with a whole figure, we have a video that's going to take you through a drawing from the beginning and show you every step of the way. It's about how to put down your first lines and then start to build up the proportions of the figure from there. It's a really great training exercise. If you'd like to do that lesson, go to lovelifedrawing.com/sample and sign up for the free sample lesson of the Life of Drawing program there. People that have tried it have really enjoyed it. It's a 30-minute drawing session. We're going to draw the torso on the figure and get all the proportions in place. There's a link below, check it out. Thanks for watching, and if you want to watch another video, there's some up on the screen.